What most expected to be one of the most open years of F2 in its modern era was shaken up mid-season as Prema's Oscar Piastri dominated, and 2021's event format and stretch calendar made the top 10 picks for this season as tricky as ever. But I compiled a list and give you who I think were the 10 best drivers in F2 this year. Starting off with number 10, Juan Yuzhou. Arugula made a step forward this year, but not the scale required to be a proper title threat and to be considered a serious F1 prospect on merit. Again, he was second best in Kyler's lineup, unable to match Dan Tickton. Qualifying consistency was an obvious downfall. He was second to Piastri at both Monza and Sochi, but outside the top 8 in the other 6 rounds. The redeeming feature of his season were his attacking drives in the sprint races, but yeah, I kind of expected more for him. Rumours he could be in a Premier next year though, so that would be really interesting to see what he does there. But moving on then to number 9, and that's Ralph Boschung. The 2021 season was probably Boschung's best in F2. The Swiss driver extracted the most out of his Campos to qualify in the top 7, 6 out of 8 rounds. His race results also improved considerably in previous years. He even got 2 podiums. The highlight of the season has to be Monaco. Keeping the car away from the barriers in a very slippy track was key to scoring points in all 3 races. The negatives came at Monza and Sochi with self-inflicted mistakes, costing him some points, but yeah, still a better season for Boschung. But moving on then to number 8, and that's Richard Verschoor. Verschoor was kind of the unofficial champion of rookie Class B, an underdog quartet of Dutch and German drivers who may deserve steps up from Formula 3 due to a lack of funding. Verschoor's MP seat was the least certain of all, officially confirmed only on a round-by-round basis, but already qualifying 5th in Bahrain, he showed his potential. At Silverstone, got the benefit of testing, he was similarly strong, and yeah, all round had a decent season, and hopefully he can get a seat for next year, and I really think he'll push on. But moving on then to number 7, and that is Jury Vips. Big things were expected from Vips in 2021, and though they materialised, it wasn't quite as much as we expected. He was a lot like Pachera, and when the weekend came together it was really good, and we saw that in Baku. But yeah, there was just something, it just couldn't be continued on a format every single race, and that's kind of the frustrating thing with Vips. But yeah, hopefully he'll be in F2 again next year and we can see the more consistent side of him, because yeah, for me I think there's an F1 potential driver in there. But moving on to number 6, and that is Liam Lawson. Expectations were high for a rookie season, kicking off with a sprint race win and a feature podium, and he didn't disappoint. When the championship resumed in Monaco, he proved his skill again with that amazing overtake on Oscar Piastri, but he got disqualified for a technical infringement, and that just kind of sums up his season. In Baku he was stunningly quick, but again got unlucky, and then had some engine failures in Monza and Abu Dhabi. So yeah, a tale of what could have been so much more for Liam Lawson really. But moving on then to number 5, Dan Tickton. At the point when Tickton's F1 dreams came crashing down, he was right among F2's top performers, as evidenced by a second place behind Juan Yuzhou and ahead of Oscar Piastri in the Silverstone feature. So we arguably had some right to feel aggrieved that there wasn't more trust in his abilities. He made the podiums in the first 6 rounds and 3 times in feature races, a tally nobody else except Piastri and Joe matched, and yeah, it does just show the potential of Tickton, and it's a shame he won't get another opportunity at getting into F1 really. But moving on then to number 4, and that is Robert Schwartzman. Despite being title runner-up, it was a disappointing year for the pre-season title favourite, as his rookie teammate comprehensively outdrove him. Qualifying once again let him down too often, and both his wins came in the opening sprint races, where a front row start was a reward for poor qualifying. Indeed, he still scored more points than anyone else in sprint races, but yeah, you really feel like it was a disappointing season for Robert compared to where he wants to be, and that was winning the title. But moving on then to number 3, Juan Yuzhou. It wasn't quite the title for Alfa Romeo's 2022 driver, but a job very much well done for Joe. Yeah, his ultimate challenge did ultimately fail, and quite easily, but yeah, considering the disappointing season he had last year, it was definitely a lot better for him. But yeah, I mean, like, the first part of the season was really strong, kind of fell away a bit towards the second half of the season, but by that point he'd already got the F1 drive, and Piastri was just so good, and there was never really any coming back though for him. But moving on then to number 2, and that is Théo Pourchaire. What Pourchaire achieved in Monaco was perhaps the single strongest performance across the junior categories in 2021, decimating the rest of the opposition in his first race at the famed circuit. But that alone does not elevate him so highly. Dragging what was a subpar ART GP package constantly towards the front was a huge achievement in itself, and keeping in title contention towards the end was really good, especially with the injury he suffered at Baku. And yeah, really good beat here. And moving on to number 1, of course, it's it's Oscar Piastri. It's hard to see anyone but Piastri in the top spot coming into this year, even as a FIA F3 champion. It's fair to say most people thought this is a learning year for him. Apparently, he didn't get the memo. There's lots of talk about famous format challenge benefiting him, but for me, it's not that at all. Taking every single pole since Silverstone, winning I think all of those feature races, it was just so impressive, and just such a shame he's not going to be in F1 next year. But anyway guys, that's the video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Let me know thoughts, comments down below. Follow us in the description below for daily F1 news, and subscribe to my channel, and I'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.